Steeler Fury. SteelerFury.com.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Pittsburgh Steelers Show on the SteelerFury.com podcast. I'm your host, Wil Masisak, also known as Bradshaw to Ben. You might know me as Accidental Zen on Twitter. And this is episode 2 of our annual pre-draft extravaganza. This is year 15 of doing this routine where we have a week-long series of episodes, draft content related to the NFL draft at large and the Pittsburgh Steelers part of that. And we get pretty into it. We've got, a full first-round mock. We talk small schoolers. We talk Steelers needs. We will eventually do a 7-round Pittsburgh Steelers war room, going through pick by pick with all the potential candidates at each pick, and then a consensus pick from our team. But today's episode is kind of a fun one. It's all interviews that I achieved at the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl in Pasadena, California. We've got some prospects in there, and we have a couple of... First up is a player with a storied NFL name. His father, Tre Swilling, played linebacker extremely well for the New Orleans Saints. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, was once the Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL in 1991. His son plays cornerback, is a good-sized corner playing for Georgia Tech. Had a good week at the Collegiate Bowl. We spoke with him. He is Tre Swilling, and here's what he had to say.
I've been here for the last 2 practices, and I noticed you right away.
Thank you.
I think you had a couple of good days out here.
Thank you.
One thing I really I wanted to talk to you about was the communication. It feels like the guys who are out here only be together for a few days, who are communicating and setting the defense and helping their guy next to them. They seem to have a future in the game.
Yes,
that gives you a big head start. What makes you good at communicating on the defense?
Well, first of all, I like to just kind of break the tension in between, guys. There's a lot of us from a lot of different places, but we all connect over football. So sideline, just get some communication going, get some conversation going. It makes it a little bit easier for us to hold each other accountable when we get on the field. Build that trust off the field, be able to build the trust more on the field. And I'm just so used to communicating, talking, and everything. And, I've been told I had a loud mouth, so I got to put that to use sometimes. And, I'm not interrupting anything.
Turn it into a positive. I'm also,
sure.
I did nothing but talk when I played, so I understand.
Yes,
so your natural position is corner, or you play more, you're more flexible with how they use you, or how you like to be used? What do you think is your best spot?
My natural position, I would call it, I'm coining the phrase right now, it's defensive wide receiver. That's the phrase I'm coining already before anyone else gets started.
I like it.
But I played cornerback majority of the time in college and moved to some nickel my last 2 years. But I'm getting ready to play everything, safety, nickel, corner, whatever. Yeah. Teams want me to play at, whatever thing I can help them at. No matter if it was long snapper or whatever it was, I would be able to help them out.
Yeah. Aside from the communication, it seemed like you have kind of a nose for being around the ball, especially in the goal line drills I saw the last couple of days.
For sure. I love the goal line. I get a good idea of it as far as working more lateral than vertical. Able to call out communication, eyes is everything down there. And just had a good chance, a good reps at it. Coaches have been helping me out a lot, especially on the film study so far, and just helping me out and just, we're working hard to just get better.
Yeah, totally. What's the matchup? Players on the other side of your squad, on the offensive side, that you've had the most learned from, or had the biggest challenge playing against it?
So we have number 85, but I'm not sure of everybody's names right now. But number 85 from Sanford, Jersey, I can't think of his name. He's definitely been a good guy. Small slot, fast slot. Michael Woods from Oklahoma, I'm familiar with him. He's done really, really well. And there's also a receiver from the UCF. But everybody's done great, to be honest. We're all working hard, competing. We're all out here for a reason, obviously, and everybody's really trying to get after each other. It's a little bit more relaxed than a game and practice a little bit, but once the whistle blows and we get ready to go, we're able to go at it and talk a little stuff when we get to the hotel and everything, but it's been great so far.
Nice. Just two more quick ones. Who is your coach, your position coach?
My position coach, Carnell Lake.
Yeah, from Steelers.
OG, yes, sir.
Well, being a Steelers show, Carnell Lake pretty well. So what's it been like? Has he been? I know he's very patient, but he always has a good thing to say after reps.
He has great coaching points, especially immediately after whatever happens on the field. He's able to dissect it. Obviously, he played it. He's able to do a good job of being able to put me in a better position and really be able to do great coaching on his side. And Rod Woodson also being the defensive coordinator. Marvin Lewis also being the head coach is ridiculous. The football side of things, the knowledge I'm able to get. I have a book full of notes already so far that I'm just able to go home and dissect and share with other people because everyone doesn't get this experience, and that's just been the most important, thing for me so far has been able to cherish and take advantage of this opportunity.
Fantastic. And just last one, who are the players, either doesn't have to be here, you played with or against in your career that are the ones that somebody said to you, who are the best guys you played against that we should be looking out for?
Oh, guys I played against, offensive side of the ball, from quarterback Trevor Lawrence, Kenny Pickett.
I heard he's pretty good.
Man, he's pretty good, right? Trevor Lawrence, Kenny Pickett, T. Higgins, Diami Brown, George Pickens. I played against a lot of guys, Riley Ridley, Mecole Hardman, a bunch of guys I played against, top guys all around the country, and they've just been awesome.
Anybody that isn't high on the radar, but you think is a really good player?
That's here right now? Yeah, Sam Womack from Toledo.
Okay.
Leads Toledo in pass breakups, I think. I'm working out with him down in Fort Lauderdale.
Nice.
And I've just been able to, build a bond with him, and he's been ridiculous. He's a great football mind. He's talented, competitive, and that's just kind of my kind of guy.
That's beautiful, man. Thank you very much.
You.
And
Appreciate
the good game and stay healthy, and looking forward to your draft
Appreciate
experience.
that so much. Thank you.
I'll try to catch up with you when you get further along, right?
Please.
Okay.
Please.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And that was Tre Swilling of Georgia Tech, cornerback, candidate for 2022 NFL Draft. Next, we go to the other side of the ball, receiver, that you may have seen if you paid any attention to the FCS playoffs in the spring of 2021. He was arguably the MVP for Sam Houston State, helping them to the championship title. He was a transfer from Howard who took the Southland Conference by storm, and like I said, had a great run in the spring, including a catch on fourth down in the game where he actually slipped and fell and still caught the ball to convert. They don't win the game without him. He is Jequez Ezzard from Sam Houston State, wide receiver. Let's hear what he has to say.
This last year with the pandemic season in the spring, I watched every Southland game, so I saw a lot of you in that action. So anyway, this week looked like once again that you seem really comfortable being out here, surrounded by a lot of other guys who still stood out. How did you feel your week of practice was? First of all, let's talk about that.
I got comfortable with the playbook. We had a lot of install. Got more comfortable the second day. I was able to just play free, just be out there and just be myself. So, football is football.
Yeah.
Playbooks are playbooks. So you just go out there and just have fun.
Yeah, it seems like there's the style of versatile wide receiver, let's call it, right? Where you're some say you're a kick returner type, but you have deep ball skills. And you can run a lot of different routes, or you're a good route runner. It seems like that's coming into vogue in the NFL more. That used to be big receivers, everybody wanted one. Now it seems like everybody wants an Ezzard.
I don't know what to say about that, man. Like I said, I just play football, man. Whatever I got to do to get the ball to make a play for the team, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me this: who did you play against this week on your team defensively that you thought was gave you some good reps?
This week I was really trying to focus on the things that I'm bad at, like certain routes, curls, things like that. But most of the DBs, all the DBs on my squad are nice. So
yeah,
everybody gave their best. I win some, they win some. So we all gave each other good competition this week.
Yeah, this idea of working on things that you're not as good at, I'm a big fan of that. Because I feel like everybody works on what they're good at. How did you get started with that? Is that something that you've always done?
Yeah, it's always something I always try to focus on because I know my advantages. That's why I am where I am today. So it's like right now I'm just trying to polish up all the little things that I need to work on. And, this is the perfect time to. I guess some good quality guys that I'm going to get.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be returning kicks, it looks like, and things. So
yes, sir.
I think you're going to get some action in the game. I was really impressed with you throwing the ball 55 yards back to the line of scrimmage. I was like, man, is there anything you can't do? I seen you throw in a game. I remember you threw.
Yeah, I overthrew him. I had put a little bit too much on.
I remember. See, I told you I saw your snaps. Yeah, exactly. All right, one last thing, which is in the draft process. You think you're going to get did you get a combine invite, or do you hear about it yet?
No, sir.
Yeah, so where are you going to run?
Where am I going to run? I'm going to be training down there at Sam Houston, so that's where I'm going to be at. Training Bomberitos, work on my form, my technique, and things like that. So when the pro day come around, I got the best time that I can run.
That's great. When's your pro day?
I'm not even sure they haven't set anything.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, listen, good luck in the game and good luck in the draft. And I'll be, maybe you get close to the draft, I'll send you a message or something and say, come tell me how the whole process was. Because I talk to people a lot of times this stage and then afterward, and they always be like, it's a grind to get through. But I really am a big fan of your game. Appreciate you taking time in it.
Thank you.
Okay? Good luck tomorrow.
All right, that was Jequez Ezzard from Sam Houston State, formerly of Howard, wide receiver. All right, next up, we'll hear from a really intriguing prospect. He is a player that played at Florida as an off-ball linebacker. Kind of was the guy that came in the second wave for them and was very effective as an off-ball linebacker there, but then transferred to Jackson State, where head coach Deion Sanders kind of took a look at him and was like, you're going to be an edge rusher now. And he turned him into perhaps the most dynamic edge rusher playing in that conference. Had a lot of sacks and a lot of action in the backfield. But maybe his career is as an edge rusher, maybe his career is as an off-ball linebacker. Either way, he showed off great at the NFLPA Bowl and then later in the Shrine Game. We're happy to have a chance to talk to him from Jackson State, linebacker, edge rusher, James Houston. I'm with James Houston from Jackson State, formerly of Florida. But more importantly, this week in practice, I saw you do some amazing things. I thought when I first saw you rolling that you were a little bit smaller than you are, and I had to look it up, and I was like, you're like an edge defender. You're out there covering wide receivers and frustrating them. You made some nice plays in coverage drills.
Thank you.
Did you come here with the intention of trying to show you could do a lot of different stuff?
Yeah, I knew what type of player I was. Very versatile. I can be almost everywhere on the field as a defensive player. And I just kind of wanted to show that and put that on tape and, just put everything on tape that I know I could do.
Yeah, this process is interesting. Like they don't know All-Star games, you can't rush from an outside linebacker.
Right.
So you either have to say I'm a rusher or I'm a coverage guy
Exactly.
or whatever. So what position are you actually playing here?
I'm playing everything. So I was at DN. I played DN, and I also play outside linebacker as well as Mike linebacker. So they've been moving me around a lot. It's been a blessing. Not too many players get to do that, especially, like you said, in All-Star games. So, I'm just taking advantage of it.
Yeah, it looked like you don't normally play off ball, but you look really comfortable in the run drills. I saw on goal line you made a nice play, but that's all about read and react.
Right.
So how do you go from playing a completely different position most of the time to suddenly you're on the field and you got to read and react and make plays? Like it's just instinct.
Right. So at the University of Florida, I played Mike linebacker. So that was something I was very used to. And when I went to Jackson, I switched over to DN, and so I started getting used to that as well. And so it just all feels like it's all one part of me. And like I said, I just feel like a defensive player that can do the different things from different spots and different areas.
Yeah, most definitely. So teams, you've talked to teams here, I suppose, in the process, right?
Yes, sir.
So because they're not going to forget who you are, I'm sure.
Hopefully not.
So, but are teams looking at you for different roles, or have they said anything about this to you?
So the majority of them say like that stack off the ball linebacker or Sam, but other teams have said Mike, and other teams have said DN. So it's just all about what the team needs and what they want me to do.
Are you allowed to say who you talk to at all? Like, did the Steelers talk to you at all?
Yeah, I talked to the Steelers. I talked to a plethora of NFL teams. So
I'm hoping that you did. Yeah,
yes,
exactly. Well, first of all, good luck in the game, and secondly, in the process, did you get a combine invite? Or
I did not.
Yeah, so sometimes I don't understand combine invites, man. But it's politics too. Where are you? You're working out at which pro day, and when it is?
Jackson State Pro Day. It's towards the end of March. Like March 30th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and where are you training?
I'm training up in Atlanta with Chuck and Chip Smith.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's right. Well, you're gonna get all the moves and the
everything. Yes, sir.
Right on. Okay. Well, thanks for talking to me. Good luck in the game tomorrow, and I'm really congratulations on a great week of practice, getting this far.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. I really enjoyed watching you.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. Cheers.
Once again, that's James Houston, the linebacker, edge rusher from Jackson State via Florida. Will be interesting to see how teams view him when he goes to the NFL. Next up, I have an offensive lineman who I wasn't that familiar with before I got to Pasadena, but I can tell you this, in watching practices, I watched a week's worth of practices, and they have all the offensive linemen versus defensive linemen and edge rushers, one-on-one drills between the offensive line and defensive line. And this gentleman was 100% undefeated. In fact, even when he went up against some really good players like Eric Johnson, he just absorbed pass rushers and didn't allow anybody by him. It was just kind of a wall in pass protection. He started his career in Utah and then graduate transferred to Mississippi this season, where he was part of protecting high-profile draft prospect Matt Corral. So without further ado, let's talk to Orlando Umana from the University of Mississippi and ask him about his practice and how things are going in the draft process.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm here with Orlando Umana from used to be Utah, now Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I think you were pretty happy to be both places. But I noticed you this week. You were the buzz of the stands with the drills, the OL and DL drills. I heard 3 different people talking about you. So
a
couple of big name people too. I'll tell you off the air.
Thank you.
But at any rate, I thought you did pretty well in those reps. How do you think that you fared against the competition here this week, and how was practice for you?
How did I go against them? Yeah, I felt like I was competing well. Still got to work on a lot of stuff. Still got to get down to little stuff, because those are the easiest ones to fail on. So just being consistent and just happy and blessed to be out here.
What are the little things, for instance? What are the kind of things that you work on?
Just little footwork stuff, hand placement, knowing what he's gonna do before, just little keys to what moves he's gonna do, and yeah.
Oh, sure. So you made the transfer from Utah.
Yes, sir.
I know you had a little bit of an injury. I don't know how much that impacted your year, but how did you feel about the difference in competition going from Pac-12 to the schedule in Mississippi?
It was definitely more. I feel like the away games were more I feel like the Washington game, how it's loud.
Yeah.
But I feel like every away game was like that. So it was definitely a different experience. Blessed to be over there too in the SEC, and the competition. I feel like it was the same. As far as the D-line, the Giants.
Yeah.
But the only difference I feel like is the skills. The skills over there are all it's a different level. Yeah. We'll have 1 or 2 guys like that in the Pac-12, but I feel like over there is most of them.
Yeah, and playing with a guy like Matt. That's
yes,
probably
sir.
kind of fun, because you never know where he's at.
Yeah.
When you're offensive lineman, those kinds of guys are sometimes hard to protect for.
Oh, yeah. So we had a lot of QB draws. So you're basically blocking for a guy that, can go to your right, to your left. You don't know. So you got to block forever. And it was, that was cool to play for him too. I guess he's going first round projected, but yeah, it's just blessed.
And you were working with Coach Chung, right here?
Yes, sir.
So what's it like working with a kind of a legend like that?
Man, it's amazing.
He's fun though. He's a legend, but he's fun. Yeah.
He's always joking around with me, and it was just a blessing. And I was just trying to pick from him. Because he's been in the game a long time, so soaking as much as I can. This short period of time, yeah. And
in terms of players that you faced on your team, the defenders, who are the guys that gave you good reps that you think are good players here?
I don't know his name. I think it's was the number 93. He's from Missouri State. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's one of those.
He was frisky, a lot of different stuff, a lot of moves.
Yes, sir. So he's strong enough to bull you, but quick enough to So you got to be. He's one of them dual threats. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure when you move up a level, I never played O-line at that level, but I imagine that it's the guys that can do. You don't know what they're going to do.
Yes, sir.
Right, so that guy's going to try to beat you every time to your, this gap. It's one thing, but if you don't know what he's going to do,
you got to watch out for them, counter moves. Basically, you just got to prepare for all his moves in 4 seconds, 5 seconds. So that's what it basically is. Chess match.
Absolutely. Okay, so just in terms of your draft process, are you a combine invite?
No.
Okay,
no,
so but you're going to work out which
pro day? At the Ole Miss.
At Ole Miss. Okay,
yes,
great.
I think
I don't know if anybody will be there.
I know.
Probably going to be like ESPN and everything else there.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good thing. And you know when that is?
March 24th, I believe.
Okay, great. Well,
Yes,
enjoy the process. I can tell you from having talked to a lot of people at this stage and then afterward,
Yes, sir.
it's a grind. So,
Yes, sir.
So keep your head up. But
Yes, sir.
I think you had an outstanding week. Yeah, it's funny. Like some guys at practice, the scouts are always watching, even when they're not seeming like they watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a little bit of buzz. They were just like, "Oh, did you see that guy's hands? Like he's good anchor. He seemed like he did a good job." So
appreciate it. I still got to work. Thank you.
I know very much. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you taking the time.
That was Orlando Umana from the University of Mississippi by way of Utah. And really glad we got a chance to talk to him. Interesting discovery there in Pasadena for me. Now, next, let's mix it up a little bit and go with some coaches who I got a chance to talk to in Pasadena. They're both very recognizable names that it'll be interesting to hear what they have to say. The first is an interview from 2020 that we just haven't got a chance to include it in anything to this point, but I still think it's a great interview that you'll be interested in hearing, especially here if you're a Steelers fan. This gentleman is a Hall of Famer who was working his way as a defensive coach, had been working for the Raiders, but I think now is doing some consulting for other teams, but doesn't have a full-time coaching job. Probably should. He had a great time, looked like, coaching here in Pasadena. His name is Rod Woodson. Needs no introduction other than that. Here he is, me asking him some lame questions about the Pittsburgh Steelers and a couple of good ones about some other things.
So I'm here with Hall of Famer, member of the 75th anniversary team for the NFL, and great Pittsburgh Steeler, Coach Rod Woodson. Coach Rod Woodson, because you're here coaching
today,
as the defensive coordinator at the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. So I just want to ask you, first of all, how was your experience coaching kids this week?
It's fun. Football's football. If you're coaching Pop Warner, if you're coaching high school, if you're coaching college, you're coaching pros. These guys hopefully have a career next several years to be in the National Football League. So hopefully we give them a little foundation. It's really, you're not going to give them a bunch in 1 week, but hopefully our stories resonate with their stories and they can kind of relate to what we've gone through.
Right. And it seems like you're easy to look up to for them because they know that you did it. It's not, you're not just talking about it.
Yeah, it's all of us. Chad Brown. Chad has played a long time in the league, and Colonel Lake played a long time in the league. And, I think our coaching staff has like over 200 and some odd years of experience in the National Football League. So
Absolutely.
Hopefully we gave them something positive to look forward to.
Yeah, that's great. And for you, coaching something that you it's a one-off or something that you actually enjoy doing, you might do some more someday?
No, I enjoyed it. I spent 4 years with the Raiders. Last couple of years I haven't got on with anybody, but I love giving back to what was given to me throughout my career.
You've had some great coaches too.
I've had some great coaches. I think the foundation they gave me and giving that back to the guys is one thing I love to do.
That's great. One last question for you. I know you overlapped with Donnie Shell.
Yeah.
It was a big year for him and finally making it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Just what was it like being his teammate? Were you
he was my roommate. So my first year, he was my roommate. So every home game and away game, Chuck made us have roommates, and he was my roommate. But he's a pro's pro. I didn't know he had 51 picks. I didn't know he had that many. So I went back to look at it and said, well, he did have a lot of picks. So, he was just one of those guys that always made plays. He was a pro's pro. He was great for me coming in as a young player, teaching me how to act, how to be on and off the field. So,
and you're passing it on now this week too. So
I'm trying to.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Hey, and 51 picks for him, still the most by a strong safety in history.
Is he?
He retired 32 years ago. You believe that?
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Good luck today.
That was the one and only Rod Woodson, Hall of Famer, former Pittsburgh Steelers player. And then another completely recognizable name. He was someone that I saw as a young defensive coach in the first NFL game that I ever saw in the 70s. And I asked him some questions about that game to see if he would remember. Of course he did. He has spent his whole life in the game, and his career spans from the early to mid-70s all the way to the present time. I'm sure you will recognize not just the person's name, but his voice. Let's hear from one of the great defensive coaches in the history of the game, Wade Phillips.
I'm with the one and only Wade Phillips, and if anybody knows the answer to this question, is defense dead? You've seen it all, I think. What's your take on this? Compared to the '70s when you first got started, now how things changed?
Well, yeah, the '70s were different, but at that time, they started changing things. Like always, they change things. Offenses, I'm talking about, they come up with new stuff. But the secret to defense is recognition. So once you start seeing it enough, the defense catches up, and then they have to come up with new things. They came up with jet motion, and you start catching up with that. 3 wide receivers was a big deal when I first started. They put 3 wides in the game instead of 2. So, after a while, you catch up with it. It's just it's the evolution of the game.
But the rules changes don't ever seem to catch up.
Oh no. It's we know that it's geared towards the offense, but that's all right. We still had some great defenses though that I'm proud of. So
no, absolutely. I mean, it's not to say that the defenses aren't good. I just feel like it's got to be hard to make a championship run. It used to be people who said, you win championships with defense. Do you still think that that's true?
Well, the last 2 I was in, Super Bowl 50, the Broncos, we played pretty good on defense in that game.
Sure.
And 53 against when I was with the Rams, it was 13-3. If you'd have told me I'd hold Tom Brady to 13, I would have thought we won that one, but we didn't. But both defenses played really good in that game, so it can happen.
Yeah, and you think the run of the quarterbacks and the offensive play right now, you feel like this is just one of those swings of the pendulum?
Oh yeah, that's the way it is. They're throwing it more. They're throwing different things that we hadn't seen before. And like I say, you start recognizing those things, defensive coaches will start adjusting to it, so they'll play better. It's still an offensive game.
Just one last one. You think it'll result in some different kinds of defensive players getting drafted, guys that are sort of positionless? Do you believe in that?
Oh yeah. I think the colleges are doing it right now. I mean, all you're seeing is safety kind of guys playing linebacker. So I think it'll happen.
Great. And this is just for me personally. My first NFL game that I attended was a certain Monday Night Football game in Pittsburgh where Earl Campbell had 3 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember at the time, I've been saying for 50 years that's the greatest opponent performance I've ever seen. What did you, being on the other side of that, what did you take of that whole?
Yeah, I mean, Earl was, he was the rookie of the year, but he was MVP in the league. I mean, that shows you how good he was. And to do that against that defense was really amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone, even the whole run that they had doing something like that.
Nobody came close to that.
Yeah. What did you, just last word on that rivalry, you still think about that? Or you've progressed through so much in your career. Do you think about the old days with your dad and the Oilers?
Yeah. In fact, we see Joe Green every time we have an Oiler reunion. He comes to the Oiler reunions.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a rivalry, but it was a friendly rivalry, Yeah. So those were fun times.
Well, first of all, good luck to you, Coach. Congratulations on such a wonderful career. I'm a great fan of yours, so I'm glad you took the time for me. Thank you.
You bet.
Good luck here this weekend, too.
Really amazing to get a chance to talk to Wade. I felt like I wish I had about a million other things that I thought of. I wish I thought, the thing about talking to someone like Wade Phillips is you think of all sorts of stuff afterwards about that you should have asked, and you just I just didn't really. I knew I only had him for a minute, so I was trying to come up with a couple of things for him to talk about, but glad that we got a chance to talk with him anyway. And finally, last but not least, in the series of interviews today is one with a prospect that I have. I've been following him very closely, even before the spring season in the FCS. He was a quarterback that I sort of had on my list of prospects to look forward to in the upcoming draft and somebody to follow. And then I ended up watching every snap that he played in 2021, which was basically 2 seasons for FCS teams like his. He was the quarterback from southeastern Louisiana. On top of many other awards that he won the Walter Payton Award, which is the FCS's version of the Heisman. And then he also won the Collegiate Bowl MVP. So here he is talking to us just after the game and his MVP presentation. I'm thrilled that you had a good experience here, capped off with the MVP. I'm here with Cole Kelley from southeastern Louisiana, pride of Hammond.
Hammond, America, baby.
Exactly. What's your hometown in Louisiana?
Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh, you're from Lafayette.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, nice. I'm actually Corey Kaboski is a guy from. He's from Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
So he's I'm with the Steelers site, so I have Steeler Fury and a couple of NFL things. So shout out to Corey because he's also a big fan.
Corey, yeah.
He's a big fan of yours too, apparently. So this week, it's your second All-Star game. So how, was it a good? I mean, it seems like that'd be great for you to have this experience twice. Most people don't get to have it once.
Yeah, first and foremost, I have to thank God because I've been through some ups and downs in my life and this career, and I've stayed the course, and without Him, none of this is possible. But like you said, this is my second game, and I'm glad I did go play in that first one because I kind of knew to expect coming into this one. You only get so many opportunities on that field, you got to take advantage of them, and as a whole offense, I thought we did that, and we didn't let, even though they were up at the beginning, we didn't let that affect us, and we stayed the course, and I'm really proud of our team and coaches.
Yeah, it seemed like this is not a knock against anybody in the first game that you played, but that the protection that you got in this game and sort of what you had to work with was a little bit more. I can't say enough about what the protection looked like.
Yeah, they did a great job this game. Our offensive line did a phenomenal job. Tight ends, running backs, everybody in protection, and our wide receivers did a great job of getting their depth on the routes, not taking too long, getting open, and making the catches. Man, quarterback's only as good as the people he has around him, and we had a great group around me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Coach Selfo. To me, one thing I really noticed, I'm the crazy person that's seen every snap you've played in college, basically, especially at Southeastern.
I appreciate that, man.
Especially at Southeastern, mostly because you're a good guy to root for, I think.
I appreciate that.
But the Coach Selfo, it feels like has more in common with an NFL system than a lot of passing games do. You feel that gave you an advantage?
Yeah, I called our offense a modern day pro style because we were out at the gun a lot, but a lot of the concepts and protection stuff were pro style nowadays. And you see, that's what pro teams are going through. I get gun a lot too in the pros. But with Coach Selfo and with his background, man, our relationship, he helped me grow so much mentally and maturely. And I matured a lot at Southeastern, and our offensive coordinator too. I wouldn't forgive myself I didn't mention him too because I learned so much from him. Schematically, X's and O's, and so much different stuff to get me ready for the next level. And he really helped me mature as well too. What it takes to be an NFL quarterback. And I'm so thankful and grateful for them because when they did find me, I was at a low point, and to get through that adversity and to be where I am today, man, God has blessed me, and I can't say enough, man. I'm so thankful.
Yeah, it feels like kind of a big turnaround.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't know when you're going to go to the transfer portal that it's going to end up good, could end up good or bad for you, right?
Right. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. In terms of this process, or over the course of time that you played at school, NFL teams, they have to be interested in your talent. But do you think you fit enough of? What do you think about this stereotype of you got to be a little guy that moves kind of to be in the NFL quarterback? Because it feels like you're still the guys who are good in the pocket and good in the passing game still are ruling the NFL.
Yeah, I try to just control what I can control and just play my best. Let everybody else do the talking. I just play. But quarterback always has been and always will be a mind game. It's a decision making before anything else physically. And if you make good decisions, and you make the right decisions, get the ball out on time and stuff, and you have good players around you and good coaches, then you have a chance.
Yeah, just two more quick things. In the first part of the season, your red zone decision making seemed like it was really excellent. You guys had, I think you were 23 for 25, the first 25, and you had a drop. You had actually a drop in a penalty or something. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that preparation, that's a strength of your game?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's got to be successful at quarterback. There's certain situations that teams practice, and quarterbacks, stress that they have to be great, take care of the ball, make good decisions. Like one of those is third downs, another one's red zones. You got to score touchdowns, and so I do take a lot of pride on that.
100%. I'll let you go.
Appreciate it, man.
Well, all right. That was Cole Kelley from Southeastern Louisiana, quarterback. We're looking forward to see what happens with him in the draft. And that will do it for our draft show. Can't say thank you enough to our interviewees, Jequez Ezzard, the wide receiver from Sam Houston, Cole Kelley, the quarterback from Southeastern Louisiana, Orlando Umana, the center guard from the University of Mississippi, James Houston, the linebacker and edge rusher from Jackson State via Florida. Tre Swilling, the cornerback from Georgia Tech. Rod Woodson, the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famer. And legend of the game, Wade Phillips. Thank you to all of those guys for taking the time to talk with a schlub like me. That will do it for this episode. Hey, listen, we have a lot more pre-draft extravaganza content coming up. This is just the second of a whole week's worth of episodes. So next up will be a simulcast with the Old School, New School football show, where three of us will execute a first-round mock draft live on the air, and we'll see if we can kind of get a feel for how the first-round picks might go and who unexpectedly didn't get picked. And we'll talk about all of that and more on the next episode of the SteelerFury.com Pittsburgh Steelers Show podcast. I am, as always, your host, Wil Masisak, a.k.a. Bradshaw to Ben. On Twitter, you'll see me as Accidental Zen. And in the meantime, I say see you next time, and go get them, Steelers, in the draft.
Steeler Fury. SteelerFury.com